everyone, welcome to my channel. So this is Neema from Yours Only Neema YouTube channel. So today I would like to start with a book review video, and this is the most wanted video because I've been posting on about this book several times on LinkedIn, and I've received a lot of DMs about it. So yeah, let's get started. So yeah, for today's book review, I am going to talk about this beautiful book, which is called The Effective Data Storytelling, and it's written by the author Brent Dykes. So the book is published by Veli, and as you can see, the book cover is really sturdy, and it comes in a very premium quality. The pages are actually of good quality, and I did see there are quite a lot of pages because there are around 300 pages which are exclusive of the references index and all of that. So as you can see, I have already in this book you can see a lot of pages being marked as important, and that itself gives you the importance of this book, right? So yeah, let's get started with the review. So before going with the review of this book, I would like to start with an introduction of the author. He is the author, founder, and a chief data storyteller at a company called Analytics Hero, which is basically a data storytelling consultancy. He has over a decade of enterprise analytics experience at Omniture, Adobe, Domo, and Blast Analytics. In the year of 2016, he received the most influential contributor award from the Digital Analytics Association. So this is a brief description or introduction about the author, and it wouldn't be a justice without knowing the author and then reviewing his book, right? So let's get started with the review. So at first you can see that the author has provided his introduction on the purpose of writing his book, and you can see why he has given the thought of writing this book in the first place. And also after that, the book then starts with a introduction of making us to be aware of what is going to come in terms of this book. It tells us to make a shift from thinking that storytelling is not just informing, but it is more of communicating. So he tells us to make the shift from informing to communicating. And the second thing I really liked about this book is that it tells that data storytelling is a combination of three key elements, that is nothing but data, narrative, and visualization. So that is a very basic understanding that we need to have in terms of data storytelling, and that's what he conveyed through this book. And the very important thing that I liked about this book in terms of introduction is that data storytelling at a very basic level. He says how you need to approach an insight, or how you need to start up a narrative in terms of first catch and hold your audience attention, and then next you want your audience to understand the insights, and third you would like your audience to remember your insights. Third, you would like your audience to like your insights. And finally, your audience has to act upon that insight, right? So this is the levels of things that you need to keep in mind when approaching this data storytelling method. With the introduction, there is also a final point I would like to mention is that the author also talks about how data storytelling has not been just a tool that been used in this generation, but it has been used for several years together. So he also mentions some examples of leaders that have used data storytelling, which some of them have significantly failed on using and building a narrative out of data, and that shows how important a narrative and storytelling is. And another important example is the mention of Florence Nightingale and how she successfully convinced the people whom she has to talk to, and how she effectively used her data storytelling skills to convince people. So, and that shows that data storytelling is not something very new to this world, and it has been used significantly by the former leaders as well. So yeah, so this is the initial scenario that I felt, which was making the readers to set the mood, and that has totally been achieved by the author. So if you're watching this video so far, hope you like this video, and do please like, share and subscribe to this channel to learn more about book reviews. that I post. Now, do you want to know what hooked me up to this book to read consistently? Let me tell you a few points on that. The first thing that I would like to mention here, which got me so interested in this chapter, is that the author did not only mention the good things of storytelling, he also uh, made sure that we are exposed to the fact that there are certain things, if not taken care of, will lead to a disastrous storytelling. So one of which is curse of knowledge. For the curse of knowledge is nothing but assuming that the audience or the stakeholders have the same level of knowledge that we are. So it does not happen, right? So sometimes we are the person who develop the storytelling, narratives, visuals. We are kind of a technical person, and we should not assume that the executives or the stakeholder that are kind of a business oriented person have the same exact knowledge, or at the same time are interested in knowing these things. So that is one thing that is significantly mentioned. And the second thing is information overload. Haven't you all been in a situation where there are a lot of insights in a particular data and you're like confused on whether I have to put in every detail and then messing up the whole presentation? So this is significantly also mentioned here. I noticed that the author has also given us steps on to what not to do, and that is quite helpful in for people like us. And the very interesting part is here the author also mentions what happens when what to do when you are in talk with an impatient executive or a stakeholder. So that I feel that's a very important point that has been mentioned, because not everybody, not all the stakeholders have time to sit and be in a meeting, and they have far more better things to do. So yeah, that's another thing that I also like to mention here. And the another one thing that I also got me quite interested in this chapter is that the author has taken time to uh, provide the differentiation between facts and stories. So there is a difference, right? Facts are basically factual data, and stories are how you can convert those facts into a storytelling and that can capture the attention of the audience. So the differentiation is really very simple and understanding, and anybody can understand if you go through. So that's something that I also like. The final thing here the author suggests is that do not make a mistake of not knowing your audience. I know very well that people who have been in this field for quite a long time know how important it is to know your audience. So it would be a grave mistake if you do not know your audience while presenting or while preparing your presentations or storytelling. So it's always a checkpoint for us to like understand where the audience is coming from, or where the stakeholders or executives are coming from, and what their goals are, and that would help you to prepare your story and insights, and as well as the visuals. So yeah, these are the points that totally hooked me up into constantly reading this book and go through every chapters, and I would like to share them and hope this was useful for you all guys. And now that you have seen the two dimensions of this book, I would like to say the final aha moment that I had with this book. The aha moment that I like to share is the last chapter, where he talks about a study that a famous data storyteller called Hans Rosling, a professor, a statistician, and a physician. In this chapter, the author has given a link to a video, and also has listed in detail what the video is all about. So he also encourages us to see the video, watch the video, and then come back to the book and read what he has written about it. So the story written was very interesting. I would urge you to look into the video as well, because I it was very captivating. It was very interesting on how there are a lot of masters in this field that would help us to like learn about data storytelling and narrative. So that was the best thing that I came across in this book. And the second thing I liked is again the final chapter. The final chapter has given a snippets of true stories, in terms of uh, you don't have to think data storytelling in only in terms of business knowledge, or something that you're going to approach on your professional life. So here he has given a snippet of how data storytelling is captivating in terms of convincing a person or convincing an audience of to take certain actions. So there were a couple of true stories he mentioned, and those stories are actually interesting to read. And also, as a data science professional myself, it was very interesting that how far data and how far a story narrative can convince a person into taking a certain action. So that was another thing that I liked a lot about this book. Final thing that I liked about this from this book is that the author has given 7 essential principles for better visuals. So some of the principles were basically split into 2 parts. That is, first the setup, and second part is the polish. In the first part, he talks about the right data, the right visual, and the right configuration, and how it is important to use those principles and to keep the start with setting up the whole dashboard and story narrative. So that is one first part, and for the second part, it's more about polishing the existing visual of the narrative that you're going to present. These are the points that I totally liked from this book, and that's when I realized that this book should be a Bible for those who are like pursuing data storytelling as one of their career. Yeah. Now that I've listed all the interesting things that I've read from this book, let's go to the final review. So, the final review, I would like to say the first attribute I would like to mention here is in depth of knowledge. The author has taken his own efforts in delivering the research insights, and as well as made us aware that the whole data storytelling is not just a trend that has been going now, but people from the past have also used data storytelling effectively and how they have successfully gained the audience attention. So I would rate 5 star for in-depth knowledge. Second thing I look forward in this book is that the book is written in a very readable format. In terms of readability, I felt this book can be read by any beginner as well as an advanced reader. It does not have any technical jargons, so as to say that even a common person can understand what the author is trying to convey, and an advanced person who or an experienced person who's reading this book can still learn from this book, because the author has taken his efforts on explaining each and every concepts in making sure us to understand what is data storytelling rather than just visuals. So yeah, in terms of readability, I would go for a 5 star here as well. And for the final thing, I went towards audience retention. So for the audience retention, I felt the author has done a great job. As a reader myself, I have been reading this book consistently from the start to the finish, and I feel it is his own content that made me stick to the books as well as chapter. Because if there has been a drift, or if there has been a certain moment that I didn't like the book, then obviously I would not read the book. So in terms of audience retention, I would also give a 5 star. For there is one single thing that I still felt could have been improved, is that the book is quite expensive, guys. In terms of in India, for example, I feel the book is very costly and expensive. But however, the contents, after reading I felt this book deserves the price. I understand that the author has a huge amount of experience, and the book is an example of his experience. And yeah, if at all this book was not that pricey enough, I feel the students or the youngsters would get an opportunity to buy this book and also learn from this book as well. So that is the only caveat I felt, and in total I would give a 5 star rating for this book and recommend this book to everyone, because this is a absolutely great book, guys. I definitely recommend this book, and this book is it should be a Bible for people who are getting into this field of data storytelling, and as well as who have been working quite a long time in this field as well. So do check this book. Take your time reading this book. I'm sure you will not regret doing it. So yeah, that is all for guys for the review. I hope this was a great video for everyone. Do let me know in the comment section if this was useful, and also let me know in the comment section that if you would like to review any books in particular, so that I would take my time out and do this very same thing that you say. That is all, guys. Hope you like this video. If you like this video, please do like, share and subscribe. That will be a great help for me, and I hope you have a wonderful day. That's all. Bye bye.